Hey, Miraculous Women, it's Tiffany, the Miracles Coach. Hey, y'all, I got my voice back. I think it's back 100% now. Even though I still think it has a little work, but we are doing very well today. So I am super excited about recording this message for you guys because I have just been buzzing with all of this excitement about this Millions in Miracles era, this Millions in Miracles. I don't know exactly what I want to call it. I guess it's kind of like an activation, like and I feel like it doesn't have to have any fancy name or anything. I just think it's all about the energy of it, and the energy of it is about let's create millions and miracles together. Like let's do the exercises and the different things that we can do that will really up our energy to receive what it is that God wants to give us in 2026, right? And I feel like life has taught us that there are all of these rules, right, to having and making money, that it takes time, it takes effort, it takes sacrifice. You have to have all these different credentials or whatever, and the list can go on and on. But if it was possible to manifest money by simply who you are, like, wouldn't you want to have that happening? Like, I really do believe that that's possible. I believe that your presence, your identity, your frequency, your connection with God, all of those things, I believe that those things can manifest. They can help you manifest what it is that you want to receive. You can manifest money through those ways. I've literally proven this in my life. I have been a stay-at-home mom since I was in my 20s. I am almost 45 now, and I have not really, I haven't worked consistently at all in the last 20 some odd years, but I definitely haven't worked hard. I haven't had to leave my house to work. I haven't had to have, like, I have not had a job, like a regular job, since I was in my 20s. And I have, since, of course, started my business. I started my business in my early 30s. And when I had my daughter in 2018, I had to take a little break. And also, it was just, I went through a phase where it just wasn't calling to me. But I was still, even in every aspect. Now, early on, in the early parts of that 20 years, like, there was a lot of struggle. Like I tell you guys, my husband and I struggled quite a bit on one income, but we felt like it was the right thing to do for our children. So I decided to be home with my children once I had them. And then I made the decision in 2014 to start homeschooling. So kind of going back to work wasn't really an option for me anymore. Like because, they went to school at some point and I was like, oh, I can get back to work or do things that I want to do. But I realized that a business was the best thing for me because I just knew that working a regular 9 to 5 just wasn't in the cards for me. And after I started homeschooling my kids, it became less and less possible for me to do that, right? Because I needed to be here all the time with them. And so I have never had a job like in the last 20 years, and I have had the most extraordinary, amazing, miraculous life. My husband and I have created some amazing things together. We have an extraordinary life, a very wealthy, abundant life, and all of this wealth that we created was through frequency. Now, granted, my husband does work an outside job and things like that, but different promotions, different, things that happen for him, different things, like, it's because of the crown of favor that rests upon his head. And if anybody knows scripture, it'll tell you that when a man finds a wife, finds a good thing and obtains favor from the Lord. So I can tell you right now, because he has a praying wife, because of the frequency that I carry, because of the connection that I have with God, because of all the things that I do behind the scenes, even though I'm not working outside the household, they are making his life, his career, like, go forward in a faster, more aligned, more miraculous way. And I know that I have a lot to do with that, right? And, of course, I'm not ever going to take credit for the work that he does, but I do know that because he has a praying wife, because he has a wife that is committed and connected to God and that, prays for him and that, speaks things into existence for him, I know that those things matter, right? And I know that frequency and, like I said, presence and your identity and who you are being, all of those things matter. So it matters for him, and then it also matters for me because we are one and we are connected. So, one of us affects the other. And so my energy is driving him as well. And I think that a lot of times when people look at manifestation, they look at, we're creating something, like you're trying to magically make something appear out of thin air or attract something that's not already there, like something outside of you. But really, it's not what the world thinks manifesting is. Like, it really is about who you are being. Even if you look up the definition of the word manifest in the dictionary, manifest means to reveal, to show plainly, to make visible what already exists. So because I knew, and because you get a vision, you get a download from God, and I know, like, my husband and I have always known ever since we were young, even when we were struggling, and my husband and I have been together since he was 17, I was 15. So we've grown up together, and we've always known that we were meant to be wealthy. We always knew that we were going to have an amazing life. And even when things weren't amazing at the time, we still always held that vision, and we still always followed our desires, and we still always let our faith lead us. And I've shared this, multiple different lessons that I've taught in the surrendered experience and stuff like that. But we had to reveal what was there. And through my work, a lot of the work that I do, a lot of the inner work and a lot of the praying and a lot of the connection with God and all that stuff that I do, affirmations, all the things that I've done over these past years, decades really, to create what it is that we have. That's how I created it, by understanding that, okay, this is the vision that I know is for us. And then I was allowing it to be revealed by being it already. Yeah. Like I said, it wasn't about all the money that we had, because we didn't have any at first, so we had to pretend, we had to act as if, we had to fake it until we made it, right? Like we had to put on like we had money, even when we didn't. And so we've done that in so many different ways in our life, and it has paid off tremendously. And so when we talk about manifesting millions and miracles, we're not trying to create wealth out of thin air or out of nowhere. We're not trying to get something outside of us or force something that doesn't already belong to us. We are revealing the millions that are already circulating around us every single day. They're already here. The millions are already all around us. There are millionaires walking past you at the grocery store. There are millionaires hanging out with you on social media. There are millionaires all around you consistently, all the time. So you're not manifesting it into existence. You're not creating it, because we use that word a lot. Even I use that word all the time. I love to use the word create, because I do believe in some level, I look at us as creators like God. So I like to think about creating things when I want it. But really, we're not even creating it, because it already exists. Right? Like I always use this example when I'm talking about soulmates and things like that. Like I tell people, like, you're not creating a soulmate. The person already exists. They're already around. You just have to bring them into your field, right? You just have to make sure that they can see you. You got to reveal yourself to them, and vice versa. That's how it works. And the more you get connected with God, the more that you really anchor into a specific identity, and like knowing who you are and knowing what you want and knowing whose you are. Because remember, who you are and whose you are, that's the biggest thing. That's the biggest part of your identity. Knowing that God always has your back. He's always been in the universe on your behalf, that he's always making things move in your favor. Like he's always making things work for you. You have to know, trust, and believe that. And so, like I said, you're not like manifesting anything into existence. You're not creating it. You're simply making it visible in your reality. And that's how this millions and miracles era is going to unfold. You have to make it visible. You have to know that it's already there, and then you have to let it unfold. You have to open up to it. So if this message is resonating with you, it means that you already know on some level that it's meant for you. Like I said, even if millions is beyond your scope right now, that's fine. But everyone does not desire wealth, especially not at this level. And this may even scare you a little bit. Like, even though you've always known on some level you're meant to be wealthy, it kind of scared me. I'm like, millions, okay. I'm really excited, though, to share all of the things that I'm learning and that I have learned over the past few months. Like the way that I envision this 22-day experience that I want to do in February is, and normally I am the type of person where I create as I go, and I will start, like I have, put on my agenda this week that I'm going to start creating the experience. So it's not going to just be, I'm just, waiting until the second and then we're going to dive in. But sometimes it does operate like that. Like when you live a surrendered life and when you allow God to just move through you, it's like God moves when he moves. I can't rush him. I can't make him go faster. I can't. And if I try to manufacture it myself, it's not going to be as amazing as I know it can be. So I sometimes I feel bad because I'm like, well, I can't give them a whole lot of details because I don't know everything yet. But if you trust that this message is for you and you trust that this experience is for you, you'll know it, right? Like if it's calling to you, you'll know that it's calling to you, and you can trust that I'm going to deliver whatever it is that God gives me to deliver to you, and it's going to be amazing because it's going to be directly from him, right? And so the way I envision it right now is that we have some prayers and meditations and, maybe even do some affirmations, some breath work, some tapping sessions and different exercises, maybe journaling or whatever, different things, different movements, somatic movements, things like that, that can get us into this energy of what does it look like to be a woman who is receiving $1 million? Like, what does the millionaire you look like? Like, that's the kind of stuff we're going to be venturing into, because I think some of us may not even be able to wrap our minds around that number, like I said. And it's okay if it's out there for you, but when you work on the mind and the nervous system and the body, and we get acclimated to those types of larger numbers, it really changes the game. And then we can start to see that it's more possible. And I feel like even a year ago this time, or prior to this time, I would not have been able to wrap my mind around a millionaire or $1 million. I haven't even, like, as much as I know that wealth is meant for me, and I already have a pretty wealthy life, like, I didn't consider, well, I guess I considered it, but it wasn't something that I saw in the immediate scope. Like, and I think we all have a habit of doing that, like kind of future projecting things, like, oh, that's coming, maybe in a few years or maybe in a decade or whatever. Like, we don't look at it like it could be a right now thing. And that's why I'm so grateful for my mentor that I've been working for since May. She is extraordinary. And one of the things that I remember when I first came into her space, she was always talking about millions just off the bat. So that was already kind of like a shock to my system, right? And then when we were doing like a visioning exercise and we were talking about something, and she was like, well, what do you want to create? Like, what's the number that you want for this year or for this whatever period, this season, whatever? And she was like, when you have your number, and once we, had our number or whatever, she was like, now I want you to 10X it. And I was just like, what? So she just automatically challenged us, like, right out the gate to 10X the number. We're not going to be playing in these small containers, right? We're not going to be playing with these small numbers. And I know that might be a big number to you, right? It could be a big number. But what if you 10X'd it? Like, what if God really wanted to 10X it? What if he really wanted to give you that? And so I think a lot of times, we're putting caps on things. Like, I remember I heard this one coach, and this was just like a random ad that came through, but the lady was like, oh, you want to make 100K this month? Oh yeah, well, it's a cap, and I was just like, oh shoot, like, it is a cap, because we're limiting. Like, if God wanted to do exceedingly and abundantly above that, now granted, the Bible does say that God can do exceedingly and abundantly above all that we can ask or think, but if we are thinking bigger, the bigger we think, the higher he has to go. The more exceedingly and abundantly above what we are already thinking is how far he has to go. So the more you give him to work with, the bigger your number is, the more he has to give. You get what I'm saying? So it's almost like you limit yourself sometimes when your numbers are small, or sometimes we're looking at the day to day and we're like, well, I just need to be able to do this, and I just need to be able to pay my bills, and that is so limiting. Like, no, I don't want to just be able to pay my bills. I can pay my bills just so, like, let me tell you something. That used to be my prayer. Like, God, I just want to be able to, like, if we could just be able to pay our bills, God, that would be enough. And granted, that is enough sometimes, but now I want exceedingly and abundantly, God. Right? And so, 10X. Think about what, and, like I said, maybe it's a huge number. Maybe even your first number was already, shocking to your system. Yeah, let it shock you and get yourself acclimated to it. Get yourself used to it. Remember that this is possible for me. Like, if somebody else can have it, and that's the thing. When I look around on the internet and I see people making 6 figures a month, I'm like, well, there's no way that it's possible for that person. It's not possible for me. Like, I don't look at it like, oh, well, this person has that and I don't, or I want this and they have it. I look at it like, okay, so this person is making this. That means it's possible. I mean, there was a point in my life where I didn't even know that kind of shit existed. Like, I was just like, I did not know people were making that kind of money, especially not in the industry that I work in. So just keep that in mind, If you say, okay, 100K is your number this year, 10X it. What does $1 million look like? What does that feel like? Get familiar with that in your body, right? Because like I said, God can do exceedingly and abundantly above all of that. So we can limit him to some extent, and we don't want to do that. And then it's also because the more we get acclimated to those bigger numbers, and like I said, the more that our mind and our body and our nervous system starts to normalize that, right? Because that's really the key here. that's when you know that you're starting to become the person who can hold it. Because, people can, like, we look at people that win the lottery and they always talk about how they lose the money in a year or two or whatever the case is. That's because they weren't able to hold it. So you can bring the money in. Some people are really good at bringing money in, but they're not good at holding it. They're not good at sustaining it. And that's the thing too, because when you allow God to bring it in and you're not over here trying to hustle it and trying to grab the bull by the horns and do all the things and make sure that you're making it happen, like I always say, you do it that way, you're going to have to sustain it. So you're going to have to continue taking all of those actions and doing all of those things to make it continue. And when God is doing it, then God is responsible for sustaining it. And that's that's what I'm on, right? So He can't give us something that we can't hold. And so that's what this experience is going to be about. Preparing the mind, preparing the body, the nervous system, all of those things to be able to receive what God truly wants to give us. Because I really want you to know that God wants you to have all the things that you want. He wants you to have His absolute best. He wants you to have the things more than you want them for yourself. He wants you to have the most wealthy, rich, miraculous life. It is not benefiting God in any way for you to be broke. And you can't bless the world when you are broke. So it benefits God for us to be wealthy, for us to have wealth and to have riches, to live beautiful, miraculous lives. And I'm not just talking about just, because I know we can try to deduce it and minimize it to, and it's not a minimization, so I hate to say it like that, but we can bring it down to, so I can be a blessing to other people and I can give to charities and I can do all these things. Yeah, but He also wants your joy to be full. He still wants you to have a beautiful life, because the more beautiful and peaceful and exquisite, one of my favorite words this year, your life is, the happier you are and the more you can focus on the work that you're meant to be doing in this world, and you're not focused on little bullshit like bills. You get what I'm saying? So I just want you to think about it like that. What we're doing in this experience is we are expanding your vision to allow you to see what's possible through miraculous identity, embodying your oneness with God, and operating from a frequency of being a millionaire. What does that already feel like? That's what makes it inevitable. Okay? Because if you think about it, if millions are already circulating all around you, like I said, if they're already here, already available, then all you have to do is tune to that frequency. That's it. And you just have to reveal it. It has to be revealed and visible in your field. And it's likely that up to this point, you've probably been operating in, like I said, all of these BS beliefs, conditioning, all of this other stuff about how money works. So I have to work hard for money. It takes time to build wealth. I need X, Y, and Z before I can become a millionaire. I got to do all these things. I got to have this in place. I got to have this amount of followers. And I got to, listen, man, I'm telling you, I'm so done with the social media, rat race, the algorithm, the chasing. I'm done with all that. And I just told God, I want to do it in a different way. And it may not even be through my business. I say that all the time. I would love for it to be through my business, because, who wouldn't want to be blessed through the work that they're doing in the world? But God compensates you in whatever way He chooses. It doesn't have to be the way that we want it to be. And I had a very strong tie to that early on in my business, which is probably why I never reached the goals that I had and stuff like that, because I always was tying it to something specific. Well, if I do this first, it's almost like you look at it as linear, and it's like if I do it this way, do this way, and do it. It's not always linear. It can just be all over the place sometimes, because it's like God is guiding you and you're just letting Him. And the more we allow and surrender to that guidance, the easier it becomes, because it always feels, it's so hard and it feels hard and I don't know why it's not working, because you're trying to do it yourself. But when you release it, you surrender it, you let go, and you allow God to just guide you, it becomes so much easier. Okay? So when you remember that you're only on God's timeline and God's payroll, because, like I said, we have these conditionings, I got to do all these things, but whose timeline are you on? The internet, social media, the algorithms, or are you on God's? I'm only on God's timeline, God's payroll. God and I decide the terms and conditions. Let me make this personal to you. You are only on God's timeline and God's payroll, if that's where you're choosing to be, and it is a choice, okay? You and God decide the terms and conditions of your life. You and God are the majority, which means no matter what anyone else thinks, says, or believes, if you and God are aligned and in agreement on something, it's settled. That's it. It is what you say it is. If you and God know you're meant to be a millionaire, that's the majority. It doesn't matter what your bank account says right now. Doesn't matter what society says. Doesn't matter how your business is doing, how it's not doing, what it's not doing. It doesn't matter how many followers you have. None of that stuff matters. It doesn't matter what anyone else believes is possible for you but you. You don't need anybody else's approval, agreement, or validation. The only thing that you have to do is get yourself in alignment with God's vision for you, and then you know that that is what's happening. Period. In the story. Yeah? Like certainty. I know that this is happening. That's something else we're going to talk a lot about in this 22-day experience. Certainty. Okay? Because when you are certain and you know this is the vision that God has for me, and I just need to walk this thing out, and I know exactly how to walk it out, and I don't need to do anything specific. I don't have to figure anything out. I can just walk it every day as God guides me to do it, which is exactly what I'm doing in this business right now. Literally, just like I told you guys the other day, like Miracles Unscripted is now a thing. It wasn't a thing last week. It was a thing since July, but nobody knew about it but me and the few people that were listening to them back before I made it public. But yeah, like I'm just saying, like I'm allowing God to guide it. So when I feel the nudge and I feel like, okay, this is what you're guiding me to do, okay, and then I do that. And that's just how it goes every day, yeah? So when you're operating in this oneness, in this connection, in this, just this, I don't even know how to describe it, but when you're so connected to God that you know without a doubt that you and God are one, like God and I are in this thing together. God is my ride or die, my BFF, my partner in everything I'm doing today. As a matter of fact, I literally say that every day. God, you are my partner in everything I'm doing today. God is literally my everything. And you're embodying your identity as a miraculous woman, as a miraculous millionaire. You have all the power and authority you need that allows you to play by different rules to make the rules. Like we don't have to abide by anybody else's rules. We make the rules. God and I make the rules. I get to play by completely different rules than other people. So yeah, you might need a lot of followers to do this, or you might need this to do this, but I don't need it to make things happen that I want to happen. I don't need it to make millions. I don't need it to even have money flow into my life today. Because like I said, I have been jobless for years, and I have the most beautiful life, and I don't have to get up and go to anybody's job. I can sleep as late as I want. I can get up when I want. I can homeschool my children. I can do whatever it is that I want. I go on multiple vacations a year. I live a life that I used to dream about. So I know a thing or two about attracting wealth through frequency. It does not require a bunch of hard work. I know people tell you can't sit around and meditate and have money. Yes, you can. And the act of meditation itself is an action. A, and B, you will be guided to act. So you can't just sit around and meditate all day and never take any action, because God is automatically going to start guiding you, unless you're just being stubborn and you're not taking the action, which sometimes is the case. But as long as you're sitting in, like tapping in with God, and then you follow the guidance that God has given you, you're never going to lose. Okay? So what we want to do is we want to open our awareness, get really connected to God, where, like I said, we have this ride or die, like we literally feel like we are one with God. And when we start playing by those rules, that creates supernatural results. And this is why identity work matters so much, because you're not becoming a millionaire. Like I said, you can't become something that you already are. You're revealing that you already are one, especially if you've gotten the visions and you know that that is the trajectory that God has you on. Now, like I said, you might have been future projecting it and thinking, oh, okay, yeah, I'm going to be a millionaire one day, and you know one day it's coming. No, we're going to make one day now. How about that? Let's collapse the time. Let's stop making time a thing, because time doesn't exist in God's world. In the supernatural realm, the reason why you know that you are meant to be a millionaire is because in the supernatural realm, you can see it already. You can feel it. It's already in you, because you already are it. So there's no becoming. It's just revealing who you already are and revealing what it is that's meant to be in your field. Yeah? So the way you do that is you embody. You make decisions as a millionaire. You embody that frequency of a millionaire. You move as one with God, and you take actions like a millionaire, as the millionaire, which is what collapses the time, and the millions have no choice but to land into your field, to be revealed. Yeah? That's manifestation. So this 22 days we're about to step into together, it's a space where through connection, decision, surrender, and embodiment, we activate the frequency of wealth within you that multiplies your income without multiplying your effort. All right? If that's something that you feel called to, jump into the Miracles Realm, okay? The link to the course right now is already available in the Miracles Realm. I'm still working on the sales page. Honestly, I haven't even decided if I'm fully in for doing a sales page yet, because I don't know that it needs one. I'm telling you everything you need to know, but some people do like to see it. There is a little write-up in school, but school gives me 500 characters to use, so I don't have a lot. Couldn't put a lot there, but it's enough if you know. But I feel like if you're listening to this, you know if it's for you or not. If you know it's for you, jump into the Miracles Realm. You can go ahead and join the experience for $22. That's all this is. I'm not doing anything like, we're not doing 6 months of mentorship or anything like that. I'm just going to give you some daily actions to take that will get you closer, okay? And then there are always all these other ways that we can expand that, and that we can work together and continue to build that vision. If you want to go deeper, there are all those options available in school as well, okay? But also, so the $22 experience, or there's a $44 experience where you also get some other courses that I've taught that will definitely complement this so well, which is the Miraculous Enrich AF experience that I did back in, I think, 2023. And what's awesome about that experience is that it is my 3-step signature system for creating anything. Like, people in my sphere have created so much from that 3-step process. I myself, a renewed marriage, miracle baby, like I said, all this wealth that my husband and I get to experience, the wealth and abundance that we get to live in every day. I've had people in my programs manifest marriages, babies themselves, multi-million-dollar business deals, homes, cars, it's endless. The possibilities are endless, okay? So you get the full explanation of that whole process in the Miraculous Enrich AF experience. It's a 3-day process that gives you each step each day, and it goes in great detail about each step and why they're all important. And then also there's a part of, I'm only going to pull out the vision part of the Miraculous Flow experience. I'm just going to pull out the vision audios because I think the visioning part of it would be so beneficial to someone who's taken this 22-day experience with me. So if you want to actually have those additional courses, there's a $44 membership that you can join in school as well, where you will get all of those courses. So you will get the Miraculous Enrich AF experience, the Miraculous Flow vision part of the experience, and the 22-day Millions in Miracles experience that we're about to step into in February, okay? So all of that is available to you if you're interested. I would love to see you on the other side. If you have any questions, you can drop them in the comments. You can come to school. You can message me however you want to get to me. You're more than welcome to ask, and I'd be happy to answer them for you, okay? I hope you have a beautiful, amazing, miraculous day. Lots of love and miracles. Mwah.